Thank you.
Okay. Your Excellency, can you share with us your experience so far within the short period of time you've been in Africa, most populous nation, as an ambassador to me?
Thank you, madam. It's a really good question to answer right in the beginning. I have been here 9 months now, and most of the time I have been here in Abuja, but also visited in Lagos every now and then. And so far I have been really happy and surprised in a way that I didn't know too much about Nigeria when I came here. I have been living in Kenya 1.5 years and South Africa for 2 years. And I can see now that all the countries are different, it's different parts of Africa. So it's very interesting for me to be here.
Oh, that's good. Okay, Nigeria is the most earliest countries Finland established relationship with. How would you describe your country's relationship with Nigeria?
Well, if we speak about diplomatic relationships, they have been very warm and good for a long time. Finland established its or her first embassy in Africa in Lagos, 1963, if I remember right. So a long time ago, almost 60 years ago. And this was the first embassy in Africa, Finnish embassy in Africa. So it has been something that Finland has been looking very carefully at how we develop our relationships here. Of course, in economic terms, we could do much better than in political terms. So I think we could have much more interaction at the economy and also have more visits between the countries also at the high level. So although we have been here a long time, it has been warm, but not that busy all the time. After visiting South Africa, or after living in South Then and Kenya, and then coming here in Nigeria, I think there are similarities, of course, between the African countries. I have been visiting also quite many other African countries for work, not lived but visited there. And one of the similarities is that the government is not that efficient in many of the African countries. So the business is quite efficient, and that is good. So business is really driving of many of the countries. And so that is something that is similar. The difference is, of course, South Africa was quite well developed already 20 years ago when I lived there, so the infrastructure was there. In Kenya, the infrastructure was not always there, and then in Nigeria there are quite big infrastructure problems still here. So I think the infrastructure is one of the challenges of Nigeria. But of course we have 200 million people here, so it's a huge country, so that also creates another challenge to build all the infrastructure for all these people, because there are so many people here in Nigeria. Security-wise, I think South Africa was not that secure, or even quite well developed. In Nigeria we have also the same similar kind of security problem, and so on. So many things are quite the same, but there are differences, and the biggest difference, of course, is the huge number of people who are living here in Nigeria. 200 million. That's many people. It's really difficult to comprehend, that many people. But I have been saying many times that that a big number of people can be a challenge, or it can be your strength. Depends. If you have educated people, 200 million. That's a really valuable asset that you have. But if you have 200 million people that are not well educated, it creates problems. Mm.
Okay, in what ways have Finland helped Nigeria in terms of technology transfer?
Well, let's speak about knowledge transfer rather than technology transfer, because I would see that it's not only the technology that can be borrowed from Finland, but also learn from each other. So learning from each others, and I think the areas where we could actually learn together and work together, education is one. We are We have the best education system in the world according to statistics and the global research. And so, as I said, the education is a big challenge here to get all those young girls and boys educated, and so they can have a job or they can create new jobs, etc., etc. There is no limit with Nigeria if the young people can be educated and become productive citizens. So that's definitely the first area that we can work together and learn from Finland as well. Another one is then environmental technologies, kind of recycling. You can Abuja is clean. By the way, that is something that I really realized when I moved to Abuja. Abuja is so clean place, well organized. But in average, there are so much waste in African countries, including Nigeria. Plastic, for example, going to rivers and then sea. So recycling and kind of circular economy, that waste will be turned back to industry as a raw material. Just like my suit here, it looks like a normal suit, but it's 50% plastic bottles, recycled plastic bottles, and 50% of recycled textile, wool. So you can make nice things from trash, even suits if you want. So that is the area. Of course, high-tech ICT. Nokia is the biggest, still biggest 5G company developing next generation networks. So that's the area also where we can actually, something that is good to learn from Finland, also cooperate together.
I said, what areas of future cooperation are the two nations exploring?
Well, basically, those are the areas that I think, exactly education, environmental technologies, high tech, like Nokia. There are also other areas that are very highly developed in Finland. One is, of course, health technologies. That's might be useful also here in Nigeria, and then sustainable energy solutions that basically transform the energy from oil-based energy to more sustainable energy. So there might be multiple reasons. One of that I have basically decided already that I will advocate Nigeria to Finnish companies. Every time I go to Finland, I will always meet the Finnish companies and the CEOs of the companies and speak about, why don't you come here and invest into Nigeria, because that's the only way. The bottlenecks are back in Finland, not necessarily here. So there's also mindset locks, not necessarily real. Well, the Nigerians, of course, beside oil, you have oil and we have refineries, but there are so many places to refine your oil, even yourself. But there is something that I'm really interested to look at, is the Nollywood. You have the Nollywood industry here, the movie industry, and we have very good ICT industry, online, the cloud technologies, etc., etc. So to putting that together somehow, to using the Finnish ICTs and then the Nollywood movie making industry, and then see what is happening after that. Well, everything goes online, Netflix and just video on demand systems, so we could actually help each others to put next generation new Netflix or whatever together. That's something that I have been thinking. I don't know if these Nollywood kind of experts or Finnish ICT experts think the same, but I think that would be really interesting area to look at. Speaking about sports, Finland is ice hockey country, Nigeria is a soccer country, football country. We are the world champions in ice hockey at the moment. We won the ice hockey championships 2 weeks ago, and we are really grateful for that. We do have some individual football players that are world championship level, but our teams are not that well developed yet. But we will be there. We will be playing together with Nigeria one day. But Nigeria is much better than us on that field. Yeah.
Your Excellency, can you give us an insight of how many Nigerians living in Finland, and what do you think are the challenges?
Well, I don't know if we have big challenges with Nigerians in Finland because the expatriate population of Nigerians in Finland is quite small. It's only few thousands. So it's maybe 2,000 or 3,000 if I have the right figure. So and most of them, they are very busy to work in different areas of the industry, and I think they are doing. In general, they are doing good in Finland. I think the big issue in Europe on illegal immigrants that didn't really reach Finland that much as it reached the southern European countries. And most of those who came to Finland are not Nigerians; they are from other countries. So I think the Nigerian community is quite good and well in Finland at the moment.
Finland has one of the highest literacy ratio in the world, which has translated into quality living. How can Nigeria, with high literacy ratio, benefit from the country?
Well, it's not only the literacy ratio. It's literacy broadly understood, like media literacy, ICT literacy, all kind of literacy. So if we broaden it in all the sectors of education, then I think that is the key. As I said in the beginning, Finland education system is ranked highest in the world. So I think the most beneficial to Nigerians would be to work at the education sector together with us. And I know that there are already many Finnish companies who are willing to do that, and they are here waiting for the kind of partners to start. And there are also Nigerian companies in Finland, Nigerian expatriates who have created companies in Finland, and especially in education sector, they want to collaborate with Nigeria.
Okay, Finland was recently ranked first in the Good Country Index, based on the overall impact of all the countries on the planet. What does the ranking mean to your country?
Well, it's also part of the diplomacy in Finland. We want to do good for other people. It's doing good and good favors for others will pay back one day. But we don't necessarily. We are not necessarily practical in this sense. We just do good, and so it has given Finland a kind of position in the world that the other countries they trust to us. So in some of the crises, the Finnish presidents or Finnish politicians have been able to mediate between the two parties of the conflict. So I think being a trusted partner, being a reliable partner, doing good things to others is a position that Finland specifically want to have. As a small country, I think that is a good position to create peace and security for the world. Well, the World Circular Economy Forum was something that Finland specifically wanted to organize just before we are taking over the presidency of EU, and it will be also one of the priorities during the presidency. And indeed, Finland is taking care of the nature. Just like I said, we want to recycle. We don't want to put the waste, back to nature, but we just want to reuse it. And the circular economy is exactly like that. There were a delegation from Nigeria on that forum. We specifically invited, I don't remember anymore how many, but a quite big delegation from Nigeria, and there was Africa event, side event on that forum. And I think that is very kind of area where Finland and the rest of the Europeans want to work together with Nigerians. I'm absolutely sure about that. Maybe next forum would be in Africa. I think that would be a great idea. But of course, it must be your Minister of Environment who have that idea. I recently spoke with him, and he's very keen of the whole area of circular economy. So I'm sure that there would be interest also in Nigeria to be more active on this area. Well, I think Africans could be more involved in the forum, but of course, at the same time, recycling and circular economy requires a lot of technology. So it's easier to make the waste than recycle the waste, and it also needs business models for that, and those are more developed in Europe, and especially in Finland. But everybody makes waste, so I think that it could be good to have similar forum also here in Africa, but then Africans should actually be more active to organize it. The Europeans don't necessarily push it here, but if you are eager to organize it, I'm sure that they are supporting you to organize it.
Okay, Your Excellency, this is the last question. Within the short time you've been in Nigeria, what can you see that appeals you to the most about Nigerians?
Nigerian food is excellent. African food is excellent. I think I like grilled meat specifically. So I think in most of the places in Africa and here in Nigeria, I can have nice grilled open fire meat. Then of course jollof rice, and that's good. There are some tastes that I'm not that used. So like that kind of white pap, or kind of I don't even know exactly the name, but that in South Africa they call it pap. It's maize. Pap. Yes, you call it pap as well. So there are some food that I'm not really familiar yet, but who knows? After 3-4 years, I'm eating only that. Suya, yes, I have been tasting suya. That's I like it. I don't know if my stomach likes it because it's a lot of pepper in it, but my mouth is really keen for that. Yes.